The 850th edition of the MMA Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Underdog. Get up to $1,000 deposit match when you sign up at UnderdogFantasy.com using promo code MMA SGPN.
Howdy ho, Degenerinos. Welcome to episode 850 of the MMA Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network, dedicated to, I'm scrolling, who was I going to call it? I can't remember who I was going to dedicate it to. Let me see. Here we go. Southern T, who told us that that Wetzel guy in PFL, he's wearing some Dragon Ball Z thing on his face. So there you go. We got some cool fans, let me tell you. Thanks for coming to the show, ladies and gentlemen. I am not cool either. I'm Kaiser Del Busto, Jeff Fox. That's who I am. And as you can see, this is a UFC episode. It's UFC Fight Night. No, it's UFC Sport Wash 3, I think it is, because we've had 2 in Saudi Arabia. Now we have 1 in Azerbaijan. So they're the only regions I'm going to say.
Can't possibly be the only reasons that they're doing that.
No. But yeah, we're in Azerbaijan. We're not actually there, but that's where the event is. UFC Fight Night. Hill versus Roundtree, of course, is what the event is called. We're covering the prelims today. He's got not quite a few, but a few of who dat on this here card. So people okay,
who did you not know who was on this card?
I know these people. I just have to remind myself. Okay, who is this person? A lot of
I don't think we have anybody debuting, do we? Except for
we haven't seen some people. We don't see these people very often. So as you're saying, off air, they're sticking a lot of the Russian fighters on here that we don't see too often on this year.
See a little less frequently. That's
that'll be Daniel Gubby-Vreeland, ladies and gentlemen. He's the other half of this year podcast, and we should give him his props or his flowers, as the kids like to say. He did beat me last week at UFC Atlanta. He went 8-4. He lost $94. I went 7-5. I lost $200. So I'm still ahead.
That's on blindly betting $100 on money line. So remember, maybe not the best strategy. Even though we tell you have to do that, you probably shouldn't really do that. Correct. It's always a good disclaimer to have at the top of the show.
I am up $600 though doing that this year. So who's to say? Gumby's down 1,000. So there's still time though to catch up. Gumby hit his dog Phil Rowe. I hit my prop Phil Rowe inside the distance plus 300. So they're the highlights from UFC Atlanta, pretty much for us betting wise. Not our greatest performance, but we had some strong weeks leading up to that, and maybe this week will be a strong week. What are your thoughts on the prelim portion of this card, either in terms of matchups, in terms of odds, in terms of all of it?
It's interesting because there's like some wide odds, and then I'm like, but is that a wide odd fight? And there's some weird matchmaking, there's some good matchmaking, I think. So it's I've run the whole gauntlet of different feelings. It's a lot of weirdness.
It's okay. There you go. That could be our title. A lot of weirdness. That's usually that fits most of our episodes. So that is perfect. All right. Before we get into the weirdness, let me remind you, or perhaps you don't know, our college football team previews are back on the College Experience. Colby Dent and Money Line Mac preview every FBS college football team, and you don't want to miss it. That's one of our highlights of the sports calendar at Sports Gambling Podcast Network. So check out the College Experience. Hundreds and hundreds of college football previews they do there. All right, let's get over to, what did we say we're going to call it? A whole bunch of weirdness?
Yes, I think it's, but UFC Baku, I think it's their official.
Yeah, okay. Which I always want to call Daku for some reason. But yes, it is Baku. Let me give you the details on it in case you want to watch, just in case. It's going down Saturday as per usual. Baku, Azerbaijan. Look it up on a map if you want. Saturday, 12 noon Eastern time is the start time for the prelims. That's what we're going to cover. Prelims, ESPN, main card, ABC. The Baku Crystal Hall in Baku, Azerbaijan, 12 fights. We're splitting it down. Actually, the prelims and the main card are split perfectly 6-6. So we're starting with a heavyweight bout, which means this must be a horrendous fight, because why would they ever have a heavyweight bout?
It's perfect in every way.
It is. It should be on the main card. It should be a co-main event, but it is. Mohammed Usman, the family could be seeing the rise of their fortunes here. So Mohammed Usman, he is from Nigeria. I don't know why I'm pausing, but that's where he's from. Hamdy Abdelwahab, he is from Turkey, I believe, right? No, yes, no, Egypt. I'm sorry, Egypt. 3 5-minute rounds, 265 or so. Let's tell you about Usman first. He's the Motor, of course, the most fitting nickname in the sport. One of my favorites, the Motor versus the Hammer. The Motor is 10-4, 4 knockouts, 2 submissions. He's been submitted once, That makes him durable, especially at heavyweight. That's impressive. 3-2 in the UFC. He has lost 2 straight. Before that, he won 3 straight. He went 2-0 on the Ultimate Fighter and won his season. 0-1 in PFL, 7 inches of reach over Abdelwahab, 4 years younger. He's been outstruck in the UFC by 1 strike per minute, plus 142. The Hammer, 6-0 with 1 no contest, 5 knockouts, 1-0 with 1 no contest in the UFC. He did win his last test. The no contest stems from a drug test for some real drugs, like with some real drugs with some like weird fancy names. You know the kind. So he was out of action for quite a while for that. He wrestled in the Olympics for Egypt. He, based on their last weigh-ins, 25 pounds heavier than Usman. Better striking stats, better grappling stats. He's been outstruck, but less than Usman has. He's been outstruck by 0.47 strikes per minute, minus 160. A little closer in line than I would have expected, but maybe I'm off here. Let's see what Gumby thinks.
So I'm going to go with Hamdy Abdelwahab, but I don't actually think this line is all that wrong. Hamdy's got his own issues in terms of like closing the distance. And when you talk about the difference in reach that Usman's got here, like I think that's why you're seeing this line as close as it is. But outside of that, like I like Hamdy in this fight, just because I think, ironically, because I think he's got a better motor.
No, he's a motorized hammer.
Yeah, I mean, like, just Mohammed Usman does sort of trail off towards the end of fights, and on top of that, too, like when you watch Mohammed Usman sort of like overextend himself on strikes, because like I said, the reach could be a problem, but also he like kind of swings long anyway. I could see him getting countered really bad. Like Thomas Peterson countered Usman pretty easily in his last fight, and Hamdy is not. He's not maybe the sharpest striker, but he is kind of like quick with his hands, and he's sharp on the inside. So maybe he moves inside the range and makes Usman miss long or hit with arm punches instead, and lights him up on the inside. I also just think he could wrestle if he wanted to. Sometimes he chooses not to, inexplicably, and it's like a really hard fight to watch. But yeah, I'm gonna take Hamdy Abdelwahab, and before I watch you back me up and also take Hamdy.
Yep.
I'm gonna play a little guess the odds game with you. How about this?
Okay. Yes.
What do you think the sloppy fatties over on the 2.5 rounds here is?
Oh, I was gonna say it should be high, but Abdelwahab finishes pretty much everyone. I'm gonna guess it's plus 200.
It's minus 260 that it's going to
really
go higher.
Yeah. People are in on this.
Yeah,
they know about these
people know sloppy fatties overs is a thing again.
Ooh, yeah, not good. That sucks. Actually, that sucks because I thought we might be able to sneak one in on that, but nope. I'm taking Hamdy as well.
I thought the same exact thing, by the way, as I looked it up, being like that might be my prop of the week, and then it was like negative 260, and I was like, nope.
Yeah, just please wrestle. All right, don't play around in the feet. Just wrestle. All right. This guy doesn't have a motor. Take him down and grind him out. All right. So yeah, we're both taking Hamdy in this fight. But yeah, like Gumby said, he doesn't always want to wrestle because that's what wrestlers like to do. Wrestlers like to
and
think,
that's why
I can hit now.
Be nowhere near my lock. Is because like the odd line seems good, and you'd be like, oh, maybe I'll take that money on. But then you're like, but what if he fights like an idiot? And he might just do that.
It hasn't caught up with him yet, but maybe it'll have to catch up with him for him to stop doing it. Who's to say, right? We're going way down now to flyweights. Tagir Ulanbekov, he is from Russia. Azat Maksum, he is from I just looked it up.
Kazakhstan.
Right. Yep. Let's break her down by telling you about Kazakh first. 15-1, 4 knockouts, 5 submissions, never been finished in a fight. 1-1 in the UFC. He did lose his last bout. That was back in February 2024. He is a regional champ, or used to be a regional champ, used to fight up at 135, 4 years younger than Ulanbekov, been outstruck in the UFC by 2.43 strikes per minute, plus 330. Ulanbekov, 15-2, 1 knockout, 8 submissions, never been finished in a fight. 4-1 in the UFC. He's won 2 straight, both via submission. He's not lost since March 2022. He's got multiple regional championships on his
mantle.
Correct. Get our merch, sportsgamblingpodcast.com/store. He's fight at 135, 2013 pro MMA debut. He's a Sambo world champion. He's been outstruck, but just barely by 0.07 strikes per minute in the UFC. He's got better striking and active striking stats than Maksum, better grappling stats as well, minus 380. Give me Ulanbekov. Striking is not even his thing, but he's a way better striker than Maksum in this bout. But he also, like I said, striking is not even his thing. He's more of a grappler type of guy. So I think he's going to be better everywhere. Ulanbekov's a pick.
He's not a better striker under any.
You don't think so?
No, I mean, like his striking numbers are better, but like, yeah, one of them fought Charles Johnson. and Tyson Nam, who are like, what are they? Just exclusively strikers, and that's the only stats we have on them. One of them got to fight like Cody Durden. Like,
how dare you?
Of course, his numbers look better. Yeah, I'm gonna actually go with an underdog here. I'm gonna take Azat Maksum.
A big one too.
I think we're underrating him because of that loss to Charles Johnson or Charles Johnson.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah.
It's aged well. Definitely aged well.
Marlin's catcher for a second there, Charles Johnson.
I don't think he would lose to him, but who's to say?
No,
I'm sure there's a big size gap, but
yeah, the Charles Johnson fight, and actually go back and watch it. He blasted Charles Johnson in the first round. He drops him with a counter. And then he's on top in a Darce choke for a good while. He doesn't finish it, but he's damn close to Darce choking him in the first. He basically had 2 finishes on Charles Johnson. And then as Charles Johnson does, he survives and has amazing cardio and wins the late rounds. Like, I mean, he beat Josh Van that way shortly thereafter, right? By surviving the onslaught in the first round and getting to him in the second. And so, like, first of all, I love that. Second of all, like, as you mentioned, Ulanbekov is a guy who pretty much only finishes people on the mat. He pretty much only has a sub game. And I don't even think he's a better wrestler than Azat Maksum. We watched him kind of get bodied by Tim Elliott in that fight, right? Like, he didn't get a ton of takedowns there, didn't have a ton of control against Tim Elliott. Now he's up against a guy who does a lot of that wrestling on his own anyway. I think Maksum forces him to strike. He could beat him up on the feet. And actually, I think he could get takedowns himself. So give me Azat Maksum here as kind of a big underdog.
Okay, cool. Well, he's definitely had the resume. Even that loss is not a bad loss at all. No. So, especially at these odds, probably worth a stab here on the Kazakh. All right, before we dive into some more plays, let me tell you about what are we talking about first here. We're talking about Circa's Ultimate Fantasy Football Giveaway. Circa Resort and Casino in Las Vegas is giving away the Ultimate Fantasy Football Experience for a 12-person league to draft in Vegas and be treated like VIPs for their stay. And all of our listeners are VIPs for sure. What do you get with that? You get a limo ride from the airport, a $5,000 tab for a stadium swim, and a hotel stay for you and your 11 league mates. Plus, you can always get 15% off at all the Circa properties with promo code SGP15. Enter the Ultimate Fantasy Football Contest for free at sportsgamblingpodcast.com/circa, at sportsgamblingpodcast.com/CIRCA. And we're brought to you by mybookie.ag. MyBookie is your place to bet on every sport, including the NBA Finals. It says Stanley Cup, but sadly, that is over. MyBookie accepts customers for a ton of locations, easy deposit, and lightning fast payouts using crypto. Obviously, all these UFC lines we are talking about today will be up at mybookie.ag. When you do head over there, make sure you use our code MMA SGPN. That way you get 100% deposit match up to $1,000. Terms and conditions apply. That's mybookie.ag, promo code MMA SGPN. I really wish you would make your picks first for every fight because a lot of times you convince you.
You were like, oh yeah,
talk me into dogs.
Maksum is good. I'm also kind of a hater on Ulanbekov. I don't think he's as good as even his record says. He's like eked out some wins that are kind of questionable, and that Tim Elliott loss really like looms heavy for me in that fight. Yep.
True. All right, we're going to some female fighters here. They are at bantamweight. Irina Alekseeva. I always want to call her something different, but she's Irina Alekseeva. She's from Russia. Klaudia Syguła from Poland. 3 5-minute rounds. Yes, both these ladies are in the UFC. Seems like we haven't seen them fight. We haven't seen Alekseeva for a long time. We'll tell you about Syguła first, though. She's 6-2, 2 knockouts, 1 submission, knocked out once, submitted once. 0-1 in the UFC. Before that, she won 6 straight fights. She did get TKO'd in her lone UFC bout. Used to fight up at 145. 1-0 in custom fighting. I don't know what kind of custom fights they have in Poland, but I'm sure something.
It was, I can tell you exactly what it was. It was like MMA with like no more than 10 seconds in the clinch or 30 seconds on the ground.
Oh, okay. That is custom, isn't it? Yeah. Not that much fun, though. I was hoping like it had to do with piranhas at very least, but no. 1-0 bare knuckle MMA. 2 inches reach over Alekseeva, 8 years younger. She got outstruck in her debut by 4.11 strikes per minute. That will catch you a loss. Catch an L every day with that one. Plus 220. Who's she fight again? I think it might have been
Melissa Mullins.
Okay, was it short notice or do you remember? Maybe not.
I think so.
Yeah, Mullins is not that bad of a striker, really. Alekseeva, Russian Ronda with no H. 5-2, 1 knockout, 2 submissions. Never been finished in a fight. 1-1 in the UFC, 2-2 over her last 4. She's gone loss, win, loss. She's not fought since October 2023. Do you remember what's going on with her?
I don't, but I remember that loss was to Melissa Mullins. I'm pretty sure.
True. There's a lot of Melissa Mullins, and we're going to talk about her next as well. A lot of Melissa Mullins on this year card. So she hasn't fought in a year, almost 2 years. She hasn't won since April 2023. She has missed weight. I think 2 fights ago she missed weight. 1-0 in Bellator. Used to fight at 125 and 145. Based off of their very small sample sizes, better striker, twice more active landing strikes than Syguła, and better grappling stats. She's actually outstruck her opponents in the UFC by 0.29 strikes per minute, minus 260. We going big dog again, or are we going with
no? I can't get behind Syguła.
No, I can't either.
Yeah, she's just not UFC level in my opinion. Like, no. Even go to the fight that she won prior to the getting into the UFC. Like I went back and I watched her last regional fight because that fight with Mullins doesn't tell us much, right? Like Mullins just lit her up. But then like I was watching the fight before that, and like she just carries. And those of you who are on YouTube get the pleasure of seeing me do this.
Okay, let me watch.
In camera form. Right, she carries her hands here when she's striking, like she's worried that they're gonna punch her in the chest.
Yeah.
And like then just like straights right down the chimney, hit her in the nose, and she's like surprised that that's happening.
Maybe you think something's gonna explode if she gets hit in the chest. You never know, right?
No,
I'm not saying she has anything there. I'm just saying maybe that's what she's worried about.
So whatever.
There's a bomb strapped to her chest.
Whatever the reason might be,
she
just doesn't protect. She doesn't protect her face, and she's also like. Look, she's terrible on the ground. We saw that with Mullins getting the ground and pound finish. Alekseeva, she wasn't able to handle Mullins, but like she has been pretty good in the past at getting takedowns and beating people up on the ground, and like she's adequate in those places. And her punches are way faster than Syguła. So I'm gonna go with Alekseeva here.
Yeah, me too. As I was into, Syguła's resume is pretty yikes. She fought some yikesy fighters in her lead up to the UFC as well. So Russian Ronda it is. Hopefully she does not have too much ring rust heading into this. All right, we're sticking with women's bantamweight. Dariya, never remember how to say her name. Zheleznyakova. She is from Russia. Melissa Mullins from England. Jelliol, England. We have talked about her a bunch of times already. Now we're actually going to break down one of her fights. After I tell you about Zheleznyakova, she's the Iron Lady. We already have one of those, don't we? Marina Moroz.
And Jermaine Durandamy.
Right, yeah. This Iron Lady is 9-2 with 5 knockouts. But knocked out once, submitted once, so finishing both of her losses. 1-1 in the UFC. 2-2 over her last 4. Loss, win, loss for her. Just like her fellow Russian fighter, Alekseeva, got submitted in her last bout. She had lost to Mullins before November 2022. This is a rematch. Regional champion, 2 inches taller than Mullins, 5 years younger. She's outstruck her opponents in the UFC by 1.59 strikes per minute, plus 225. No mess, Melissa Mullins. Was she on your Top Turtle show before?
No.
Okay. I thought I had remembered her. I misremembered. 7-1 with 4 knockouts. She's been knocked out once, 2-1 in the UFC, TKO win in her last bout. Regional champ. She's missed weight twice at 135, so keep an eye on that. Used to fight at 145. More active landing strikes than Zheleznyakova. Better grappling stats than her as well. She's outstruck her opponents by 0.17 strikes per minute, minus 260. Obviously, it's a rematch. I'm going with the person who won the first bout, Mullins. She's also looked better in the UFC, I guess you could say. She's beat up some people we just talked about, which I guess
some really bad fighters,
really bad people. She's already beaten the Iron Lady before. I was thinking about taking Zheleznyakova, and then like, oh yeah, this is a rematch, and she's already lost to her. So
did you watch the first one?
I didn't watch the first one. No.
I'd suggest anybody who's thinking about putting money on Mullins go watch the first one.
Oh, so
I don't think
made
she
a mistake,
looked very.
Did I?
I'm gonna go with Zheleznyakova. I think there's a reason they booked this rematch too, right?
Yeah.
Because.
Yep.
You got
Go.
some
Sorry.
loud music playing over there, man. You all right?
I'm fine.
All right, cool. Zheleznyakova in that fight, she was the aggressor early on. She landed all the bombs early on. She entered into the clinch that she was looking for the takedown to put Mullins away in that fight. What wound up happening is she wound up with like kind of a bad grappling position by faulting in the clinch that she entered into and didn't get back up. They both exited the fight, 4 minutes and 58 seconds. I think it was like 2 seconds left in round 1. Bloody as hell, beat up. But like, I think Zheleznyakova showed more skill. I think she also just showed like one slip up, and then like Mullins took advantage of it. But I think the striking looks better for Zheleznyakova. She's got good wrestling. I think as long as she doesn't make a mistake and wind up on bottom in any of this fight, I think she's the better fighter. And to get her at dog price too, I think that's a bonus.
I shouldn't question myself because I always end up good in the end, but I'm like, oh no, maybe I should have dove into more of these fights. But no, I got to trust my process, Dan. It's been working for me. I'm going to
lack thereof.
or yeah, exactly. No, she hit hard. She don't hit hard. You know, stuff
yeah.
like that.
She good. She fall down. Good. She not good. Yeah. He not good. He fat.
All right. Before we dive into the last two fights, let me tell you about. Actually, this is important. It's time for Gumpy's bonus underdog pick and play. Underdog is going long for the NBA Finals with their extender bonus, hopping game one, and the longer the series goes, the bigger bonus gets. That ad read should probably be changed by this point. NBA Finals is almost over. Anyhow, Gumpy's going to give you a winner right now.
Yeah, I'm going to go with, we'll stick with UFC Baku. I like Azat Maksum's higher than on his significant strikes. They've got it listed at only 34.5 for a flyweight fight. And while that fight might mix in some grappling, which usually stymies the significant strike numbers, I do think Azat Maksum can come out with more than 34.5. So give me the higher than on his significant strikes.
All right. Now take that and take my code MMASGPN to claim your special pick and first time deposit offer up to $1,000 in bonus credits. Underdogfantasy.com, promo code MMASGPN. And you have heard us talk about Rhythm before, and they just dropped a game-changing feature called Power Trends. These are AI-detected patterns where Rhythm's model has consistently won and has a high ROI. For example, a strikeout prop that wins 59% of the time when the line and win probability hit a certain range. Power Trends are updated daily and exclusive to Rhythm. No touts, no noise, just clean data-backed bets. Download the Rhythm app, check out Power Trends, and start betting smarter. You know we will be. Have you stumbled across anything? Any other pitcher? It's usually pitcher props.
Well, I want to toot my horn on the one that we talked about the other day because we were talking about Rhythm giving us the power trend of Michael Soroka's higher than on his strikeouts, and the books had him listed at 5.5. You know, if you had listened to me and Rhythm and gone with the higher than or the over on that projection right there, he hit 6 in the first 3 innings in his last outing. So hit the over, 3 innings, no sweat, all thanks to Rhythm.
6 out of 9 outs for strikeouts. Impressive. Yeah. So you're also tooting Rhythm's horn there. So yeah, check it all out. You can check it out for free with the 7-day free trial by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. All right, 2 fights left on the prelims. We're going way up and over on to the men's side. This is a 185 belt. That would be middleweight last time I checked. Ismail Naurdiev. He is from Morocco. He is fighting. Who is he fighting again?
That's wild. He fights out of Morocco now. Isn't he the Austrian Wonder Boy?
Oh, that's right. He is. He's fighting. He's fighting Jun Young Park, who is from South Korea. His nickname's not listed as that anymore. He must have changed his nickname. He was born in Russia. He's fighting out of Rabat, Morocco. But yes, he was born in Russia, and then he was the Austrian guy. You're right, and now he's Moroccan apparently. So no nickname for him. No, he's still the Austrian Wonder Boy actually on Wikipedia. So. We'll tell you about him first. Naurdiev, 24-7, 12 knockouts, 6 submissions. He's been knocked out twice, submitted twice, 3-2 in the UFC over 2 stints. He has won 2 straight fights though. Before that, he lost 2 straight. Before that, he won 2 straight. So 2-0, 2-2, 4-2, 7-5. Kind of all over the map here. He's fed at 170, 175, regional champion, 2012 pro MMA debut, an inch of reach over Park, 5 years younger, better striking stats than Park. He's outstruck his opponents for 1.89 strikes per minute in the UFC. He's at plus 160. The Iron Turtle, 18-6, 5 knockouts, 6 submissions. He's been knocked out once, submitted twice, 8-3 in the UFC, 5-1 over his last 6, 8-2 over his last 10. He did win his last bout. He's a regional champ. He's fed at 170, 176, 2013 pro MMA debut. More active landing strikes than Naurdiev, better grappling stats than Naurdiev. He's outstruck his opponents by 1.35 strikes per minute. He's at minus 180. It's Gummy's turn.
Yeah, I'm going with the Iron Turtle. We're Iron Turtle people here.
We are
at MMA Gambling Podcast. The bottom line for me here, Naurdiev, 2 big issues. Number 1, you go back to his first stint in the UFC. He had a lot of trouble with wrestlers, a lot of trouble with people who like to mix it up in the clinch. And maybe that's not the first thing the Iron Turtle goes to sometimes, but he is a pretty darn good wrestler. And I mean, he rattled off 3 straight rear naked choke victories way back when. So I think his ground game is a lot better than Naurdiev. And then when you add in the fact, too, that Naurdiev just seems to fade quite a bit after the first round. He's sharp early on in those fights, but he does seem to lose a lot of gas. And Jung Young Park is almost the opposite. Somehow that dude looks like he's got more energy in the second and third round than he did in the first. And I don't know if that's just like getting comfortable in his fight or whatever it is, but like, man, is he good. And then, he went in there and he mixed it up with Brad Tavares, which is, kind of an underrated, tough opponent in there. So yeah, I'm going to take Iron Turtle here.
I was really thinking about Naurdiev, but I am an Iron Turtle fan, as Gumby said. And yeah, as he said, the grappling should be the deciding factor. But also, like you said, he can swing it on the feet if need be. So he's an Iron Turtle. He can do it all. All right, we're both in on the Turtle Man, and we're going to our main event of the prelims. What's his name again? Seokhyeon Ko. Is that his name?
Seokhyeon Ko.
Seokhyeon Ko. Sorry, Jong. Oban Elliott. Seokhyeon Ko is from South Korea. Oban Elliott is from Wales. 170 is what they're fighting at. Ko is 11-2. Nickname is Knockout, or nickname is KO. So
no, it's Korean Tyson.
Is it?
Yeah, he's Korean Tyson. He's Korean Tyson. I'm telling you.
This is somewhere. Korean Tyson is 11-2 with 6 knockouts. He's been knocked out twice. This is his UFC debut. He's won 4 straight and 10 of 11. 1-0 in Contender Series. Regional champ. Used to fight. Has last lost in December 2021. Used to fight at 165 and 185. He outstruck his opponent Contender Series by 0.27 strikes per minute. He's at plus 390. The Welsh gangster, Oban Elliott, 12-2, 3 knockouts, 3 submissions. He's been knocked out twice. 3-0 in the UFC. He's won 8 straight and 9 of 11. TKO win in his last bout. Is not lost since December 2021. He went 1-0 in Contender Series as well. He's fought at 155 and 185. 2 inches height, an inch reach over Ko. 4 years younger, better striking stats, more active landing strikes, and better grappling stats. All that's very small sample size for Ko, though. He's outstruck his opponents by 2.01 strikes per minute, minus 480. Give me Elliott. I don't like the line this wide on him. He's way better experience, way better resume.
Is it? He fought Val Woodburn.
Yeah, at least he fought in the UFC though.
So I don't know that makes it better.
I have more faith in him, but I don't have faith in him at this number though. So give me Oban Elliott. I have a feeling Gummy's going with another big dog here.
I'm gonna go Ko.
Ko.
I think the big thing for me with him is that so Oban Elliott, he can knock people out. I mean, he knocked out Basil Hafez. That's another opponent he's fought, right? Basil Hafez and Val Woodburn is who you're talking about being better competition, by the way.
It probably is, though, to be fair.
I'm not sure that it is.
Then the South Korean regional scene.
I mean, he fought Igor Cavalcante on Contender Series. That might be a better fight than both of those two right there. If I'm being honest, you get Cavalcante back on Contender Series, he'll win and get a contract. But the bottom line is that what Oban Elliott does that's kind of tricky and makes him hard is to beat is that he throws hooks and beats people up, but also you constantly have to be worried that he might possibly take you down or work you into the clinch and wear you down there, right? He did that with Val Woodburn, actually wound up in a whole bunch of scrambles and not even great positions all the time. But
the Gardner, Val Woodburn.
Yeah. Or it's a Gardner. Yeah, he's a Gardner. That's what it was.
Or
he feels like a landscaping company. Yeah. But Sung Kyo is so good, first of all, on the feet. He's got big power, tight hooks. I don't really love his defense all the time, but he's got nice power. And then in the Contender Series, he went in there and he took down the Brazilian 2 or 3 times in that fight. And I'm oh, he's kind of got wrestling too. So I think if that wrestling just holds up a little bit on the defensive side and he can force Oban Elliott to throw on the feet with him, I mean, he's got 6 knockouts and Oban Elliott's tough, but he's also he's been tough against Val Woodburn and Basil Hafez. Does he maybe overestimate his own toughness? He's been knocked out twice. I could see Ko finding his chin again. So, especially at damn near 4-1, I think Ko's got a way better shot than that.
Yeah, you sneakily hate on British fighters, by the way. You're always going against the Irish and the Welsh and the.
Oh, that's not true, is it?
Yes, it is.
Do I have a natural hatred for the Brits?
I think so. Maybe not a hatred, but I see you fade them quite often. But a lot of times they are overhyped. It's true. So a lot of times,
Tom Aspinall.
Yeah, that's true.
I picked Patty.
Who doesn't like him? Is he ever going to fight again? No, that's not even.
He said he's getting ready for Jailton and Almeida. So
okay, good. I am proud of us. We have not mentioned that other person's name on the show, and
we're doing pretty good at that.
Every other show, that's all we talk about. But no, there's no reason to talk about that guy. He wants us to talk about him. All right, let's recap, and then we'll get out of here before we talk about him. He's got Ko. I have Elliott. We both have Park. I have Mullins. He has Zheleznyakova. See, Mullins, British, another one. You're out on. Alekseeva, we're both in on. I have Ulanbekov. He has Maksum. We both have Abdelwahab. All right, you're set. We're in the Discord at sportsgamblingpodcast.com/Discord. We're on the old Twitter, SGPN MMA. He's at Gamble Responsibly, and I'm at Jeff Fox Writer there and on Instagram. Of course, we're on YouTube, MMA Gambling Podcast on YouTube. Subscribe to that. Get into my Substack. Free subscription will get you a entry into my free UFC Pick'em contest every week. Money MMA. Substack.com. I just saw Gumby's other podcast, Top Turtle MMA, showed up in my feed. Tell the people who is on your show this week.
We're talking to a pair of guys who are going to be on Contender Series. We got Elijah Ellison, the Snack Panther, talking about his nickname and hanging out with Chase Hooper. And then we talked to Alec Lorenz, who's a MMA lab guy.
So check it out. And of course, sportsgamblingpodcast.com, sportsgamblingpodcast.com/store for your merch needs, sportsgamblingpodcast.com/Patreon. Back tomorrow to wrap up this year's show. The Canadian Gangster, Jeff Fox, the Iron Lady, Gamble Responsibly. We'll talk to you tomorrow.